Hi world, it's Tuesday the 21st of March 2023. It's about midday UK time. I'm about 6 weeks behind with my emails and kind of up to date with readings, but not really. I'm moving house in a couple of weeks' time, week and a half's time, so I'm surrounded by boxes and it's all a bit manic. And I'm taking time off over April, not doing any readings again till early May. Tomorrow's my last day of readings for 6 weeks. I've never had that long a break in my life, in my astrological life before. So kind of looking forward to it and getting tired through doing a lot of physical work. But I will be doing a lot more videos because I won't be doing so many readings. That's the idea anyway. So I was teaching last week. Thursday night. I was doing a session on Taurus and Scorpio for my students. And as always, we looked at the charts of the day. And what was really strong last week was the exact square between the Sun and Mars. The Sun was with Neptune and Mercury all square Mars. And last Thursday seems to have been a manic day for a lot of people. But I also noted that Sun square Mars was then going to carry on because whenever Mars is 90 degrees ahead of the Sun, then Mars is slowing down, but not by that much. So the Sun square Mars, when the Sun is catching up to Mars, it always lasts, it doesn't just last a couple of days, as it does when Mars is the other side of the Sun from the other side of the Sun. When the Sun and Mars are separating, the square between them is much quicker. But when they're applying, as they are in this case, the square lasts a couple of weeks. So although it was exact last Thursday, it's still accurate to within a day or within a degree or two as we speak right now. And there's a lot of things happening in this next week under a Sun square Mars. A Sun square Mars energy gives a lot of, it's quite abrasive, it's quite abrupt, it's not subtle. It can be accident prone, clumsy, impatient, impulsive, frustrated, irritable, angry. It can also be energetic, dynamic, projective and assertive as opposed to confrontational and aggressive, and release a lot of energy which you will either use or it will use you. That's what Sun square Mars does. Ask anybody with Sun square Mars in their chart. Are they a blunt sledgehammer or are they a homeopathic laser? And then this coming week, we've got a lot of stuff going on. As I speak, the president of China and the president of Russia are talking with each other. These are the two major global players on the world stage, along with a couple of other countries. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. China and Russia talking about how they're going to divide up the world with the New World Order, how in their world the world's going to be divided. I'm sure other countries will have a say in this. The war in Ukraine is still going on. In Britain, major news about how finally it's been officially confirmed by all manner of official reports that the Metropolitan Police in London are institutionally racist and misogynist, which many people would have come to that conclusion already. And of course, it's not most of them, but it's some of them, enough of them to besmirch the name of the rest of them. There's been so many cases in this last year of policemen, not just men, some women, but predominantly men, being caught up in so much degrading, horrible things, mainly towards women. How can you trust them? It's going to take 10 years to regain the trust of the public, especially in the London police force. Also in Britain, Boris Johnson is fighting for his political life. Over the next couple of days, Boris Johnson is going to be in front of various committees, or in front of a committee that's going to examine his behaviour and say, did you lie? And he has spent a lot of money and he's got lots of lawyers on his side and he's got 50-page dossiers explaining about how he was given bad information and that's why he was partying and drinking when everybody else was on lockdown. But you know, words are cheap. Actions speak louder than words. And the nation will think, yeah, Boris and his friends were in an all-night party in Downing Street the night before the Queen's husband was being buried. Everyone else was being forced to stay at home, not allowed to go out, and Boris and his friends were partying. And they were being really rude to the cleaners who had to clean up their mess. They were sending people out with suitcases to get more bottles of wine. And they were saying it was because they had the wrong information. They didn't realise they weren't allowed to party. Doesn't work with me, I'm afraid to say. Also, it may well be that in the next 24 to 48 hours, Donald Trump gets arrested. I mean, history's changing in front of us. The ex-British Prime Minister, the ex-American President, all being called to account. And yes, everyone will have their own opinion on this. It's not for me to say who's right or who's wrong. That's up to the legal authorities of the land. But it all fits under this Sun Square Mars. This is not a time for gentle, subtle, tactful diplomacy. It's a time of action. And if you think that where we are right now is mad, it's going to get crazy towards the end of this week. Pluto is going to change sign in a couple of days' time. Pluto is going to move into Aquarius on Thursday of this week. Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius for 220 years. It's never happened in any of our recorded in our lifetime. It's never happened since Pluto's been discovered. And of course, Pluto will then stay in Aquarius for a little bit, go retrograde, come back in a Capricorn towards the end of this year. Move forward, go into Aquarius next year, stand still, come back into Capricorn next year for a little bit, and then move into Aquarius properly. So it's a long-term transit. But it is the start of a whole new chapter in the acceleration of evolution, in the development of the human narrative, human history. Pluto's going to leave Capricorn, the sign of global structure, of global community, of global law and order, of enforcement, of politics. And it's going to move into Aquarius, a sign that allegedly governs humanity, a social community, friendship, teamwork. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about Pluto moving into Aquarius because I think it's very much kind of New World Order stuff about unifying everyone under one common banner, which is great in theory, but then it means one boss, one dictator, one system. It's got its bonuses, but it's also got its challenges. Again, it's about, do we have the confidence and the trust in the people to lead? The whole nature of politics is about to go through such a fundamental change. And being 67 years old, I have seen 50 years of politics, and politics corrupts people. It leads to people feeling that they become entitled to a better life than the people they supposedly represent. To me, anybody who wants power shouldn't be put in it. I have a perfect answer to the political situation, and it is not radical. It is quite simple. But abolish political parties. If instead of voting for, at the moment we have a system where one person says, vote for me and my party will do it this way, and another person will say, no, vote for me and my party will do it the other way, and then one party gets in power and it all goes wrong every time, regardless of which party it is. For example, in Britain at the moment, the current political party in power has been in party for 12 to 15 years. They haven't fixed anything, and now they're talking about how vote for us and we'll make it all right, but they haven't done anything in the last 12 to 15 years. Apart from take us out of Europe, which I voted for, and now I think I made a mistake. Pluto moving into Aquarius, I suggest there's a way of doing this which involves voting for individuals rather than for parties. If someone were to stand up in my area, my constituency where I vote, and say, look, I don't belong to any party. If you vote for me, I'll stand as an independent, and every time there's a big decision, I'll organise an electronic referendum amongst all the people who voted for me, and you tell me which way you want me to vote on this particular issue, then I'll follow your wishes. I'd vote for that person every time. It would create it would make individuals much more aware of what's going on in their world, make them much more aware of the individual power they have, and it would strip away the power from the political elite. Of course, it will never happen, but in my dreams. Pluto moving into Aquarius is going to create fundamental changes in the way the world's run. And I don't want to see it turn into a kind of cyber state, new world order, run by the global corporates and the banks and the large political blocs. I want to see it more based on individual human rights, referenda, individual self-empowerment. Hopefully that will be that way. 2-year transit. But this isn't all, because Mars is about to change sign. Mars is going to change sign and move into Cancer. It's finally going to leave Gemini. Yay! Around the 25th of this month, Saturday, depending on where in the world you are. It'll actually leave Saturday around midday UK time, around. And that's going to create a dynamic as well, because Mars and Pluto both changing signs at the same time. There's going to be some pretty radical events this week. In America, in Britain, probably in Russia and Ukraine. The world's on a knife edge at the moment. And of course, today, it's the new moon in Aries at 0 degrees of Aries. The new moon is at 0 degrees 50 of Aries. It's in the very first degree of horoscope. So, you know, looking at that on its own, today the sun and the moon are in the same place. Today it's a great time for a fresh start and a new beginning. This becomes exact at 24 minutes past 5 UK time today. Today is a great day for a launch. Anything you initiate, start, launch or begin today. If you're doing it for yourself, without trying to gain power or control over anyone else, then today is a great day for starting something fresh and something new. But if you're trying to have inappropriate or unethical influence over anyone else for any reason that's not authentic, then you're going to seriously screw up. Because the planet, and the planets don't care about individual humans. Sure, the planets don't care about anything. The planets are not, as we understand it, full of feeling and emotion. But the planetary geometry that's out there, the patterns that the planets make, create a degree of harmonics and dynamics which we as humans react to, whether consciously or unconsciously. And that creates patterns of behaviour, both collectively and individually. And it's not fated, it's free will. But nevertheless, those patterns do influence us. And there is this thing around cause and effect. When we see a certain pattern developing, we can choose to react to it in a really positive way or not, a really negative way. And it all, at the end of it, with the human condition, comes down to greed and control and the desire to be powerful. And if there's one thing I've learned from Pluto, you can never be powerful. The more you try and control power, the more it gets stuck inside you, goes into a vicious downward spiral, and you become corrupt. Whereas the more you become power-filled, the power flows through you. You become the conduit, the channel, and you become the catalyst that empowers others into having a more fulfilling and rewarding life. Given the choice, I know which one I'd go for. Sermon over. It's new moon in Aries. Do something for yourself today, folks. Catch you later. Bye.